As a young boy, growing up was pretty tough for me. I had a beautiful family, beautiful mum and dad, little sister. My family was amazing. When I started going to school, I suddenly realized that I was different. I mean, I didn't look different, but man, I sure felt different. My first couple of weeks at primary school, I was getting in more trouble than your ordinary kids would. I was labelled the biter. I bit lots of kids. And it got worse. I mean, I stopped biting, but it got worse as I got older. By the time I was 16, I didn't even know what I was doing. Right back when I was about 7, I was diagnosed with ADHD. So that's attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Pretty much, sum it all up, it means I'm a breath of fresh air in everyone's life. It also means I do some silly things all the time. But when I was about 16, my life had pretty much completely gone off the rails. I didn't want to be at school anymore. I had completely rebelled. I also suffer from dyslexia, so all my B's come out as D's, and to be honest, reading these upside down is easier. But as I went through this little stage of my life struggling, I suddenly realized that there was all these other people out there that were exactly like me. They didn't really fit into the school system, they didn't fit into society, and they were the people that I associated with. And as you can imagine, a whole lot of wild kids all together make some pretty troublesome times. So from there, I was off the rails, way off the rails. Girls, drugs, destruction, fast cars, and lots of drugs. I pretty much woke up every day to get high, smoke weed, and get high before I went to bed. And I had no job. I was on the benefit. So all my money from the government, or you taxpayers, sorry, went straight onto weed. One day I woke up and I suddenly realized that my parents didn't raise me to be this person, and I didn't want to be this person. I was so upset and so depressed with who I had become that I realized I really needed to change. I assessed myself, and I assessed the situation I was in. I was a drop-kick, weed-smoking dumbass with no direction in life and no motivation to change. I was so low that even the most positive things in my life at that stage kind of disappeared behind a thick fog in my brain that just consumed everything. I needed to change, and I needed to escape from my crappy life. I told myself, don't let this year be the same as the last. Take full responsibility for yourself, Brando. Go out and do something different and change your life. And different is what I did. On the 1st of February 2013, I set off on an adventure to change my life. Well, at this stage, it was to run away from my old life. I took the first step on this big adventure walking around New Zealand. I had done no forward planning on this journey. I wanted to make it as hard as possible. So I didn't carry food. I didn't plan anything. And, well, the only planning I did is I opened Google Maps and had a look at New Zealand. And the other thing was, I knew if I started in summer, I'd be walking down the west coast of the South Island in winter, which in my head was challenging, so why not? Bad idea. I started walking into the unknown. I set off on this journey. The first week was the hardest week of my whole life. I was experiencing new things that I'd never even thought I would have to experience in my life. I didn't eat for up to 4 days at times, and walked for 20 to 30 kilometers every single day. I had taken a step in the right direction though, and that's all it took to change my life, was one step and a positive step in the right direction. My life got better and better every single day. I started learning about me and what makes me happy. I learned more in 1 week in the wild than I learned in my 12 years at school, and I'm not saying go walk around New Zealand to fix your problems, because that's a bit extreme, but go outside and learn about yourself. Learn about who you truly are without human influence. The most defining moment that I had on my whole trip actually happened in a river, right down the bottom of the South Island, a river called the Waiau, which is in southwestland. I had a raft which I blew up. I don't think there's a photo up there of it, but every single river that I got to, I inflated this little, it's called an alpaca pack raft, and sat in one end and my bag went in the other, and I paddled. But normally I paddled across the front of rivers, but this one was different. I had to come inland to avoid some really gnarly cliffs and the gnarly fjordlands. If you've seen them, they're pretty big. I was paddling down the river. I was about half an hour into the paddle, and suddenly I heard this really faint alarm. It was the strangest kind of alarm. It sounded like my phone was going off, but my phone was dead. I didn't know what it was, but I didn't really pay too much attention of it and continued paddling. 5 minutes later, I heard the most tremendous thundering sound from behind me, and it was terrifying. I looked over my shoulder, and I didn't even really have time to think. This wave just came pummeling down through the gorge that I'd just paddled through, and someone had decided that it was a good day to open the dam. So there was about a 2.5 meter high wave just swallowing up this gorge, and it hit me. It knocked me out of my raft. The raft took off. I watched it disappear and went on to be ragdolled on the bottom of this river by all the rocks in the water. It was absolutely terrifying. I managed to pull my life jacket. I had one of those little pull release inflate things, and I shot up to the surface, but now I was still in trouble. I was still in this torrent of water going down at an extremely fast speed. And then I hit a willow tree. So I was paddling to the side and just stopped dead in my tracks, and the pressure of the water pulled me straight under. I was fighting for my life, grabbing at everything, trying as hard as I could to just get one last breath. It felt like 5 minutes under the water, but it was probably only 30 seconds, and I suddenly came to terms with something. I was under there, and I realized that I was about to die, and there was nothing that was going to stop this from happening. Everything changed in that moment. As soon as my headspace changed, I realized that what I was doing, I was living my life, and that was making me happier than I'd ever been in my entire life. So when I was down there underneath the water, it's hard to say, but I was happy. Not that I was dying, of course, but I was happy with what I was doing with my life. I was right down the bottom at this stage. I'd relaxed, so I got sucked to the bottom of the river, and I opened my eyes, and the beautiful, well, it wasn't beautiful at the time, but it suddenly changed. The rocks, which were jagged and black at first, suddenly became transparent and like gemstones, and the water flowed like a blue, like sapphires, and it was freezing because it was running off the mountains, but right there in that moment, it became warm like a tepid bath, and the crashing sound from the water started to get a beat and a rhythm, and it sounded like music. And I lay there and I totally relaxed. I let go of everything that I'd ever hated, everything. And I took in the beauty of what was happening, and my eyes slowly went darker and darker, and then eventually I was gone. Now, I don't exactly know how I got back to the surface, but I'm pretty sure water always goes down. So it pulled me to the bottom, dragged me underneath, and because of my life jacket, it shot me back to the top. Now I woke up coughing, spluttering, vomiting up water, and that was probably one of the scariest, most life-changing moments of my whole journey. It taught me some amazing things. It taught me that the sun goes down every single day, obviously, and comes up the next. And that's saying that life goes on no matter what. It doesn't matter if we're here. It doesn't matter in 50 billion years' time. It'll still be spinning, and life will still be living. It might not be us, but it'll still be there. Now, that didn't stop me from completing my journey. It actually made me stronger. It took away the one thing that I was afraid of, and that was death. And sure, death can be scary, but for me, I looked at it in the way that if I'm doing what I love to do, if I die doing it, then I've lost nothing. But if I died doing something that I regretted, then it's obviously a lot lost. The next 304 days, I made my way up the entire east coast of the South Island and then the north, all the way back to Cape Reinga. Now, in the last 4 days of this journey, I realized something else quite important. This whole journey, I've been racing to get to the finish. It's been a race to end. And in the last 4 days, I suddenly realized that it's not about the end of something. It's not about even finishing something. It's about the fun and the journey that you have between the start and the end. Now, the problem I'm trying to address here is there's so many people in this world that have these amazing dreams to go out there and do something great. I mean, we are all humans, and humans are capable of tremendous and amazing things. Now, I'm going to break this down into 5 key points of how I changed my life. Number 1 is I realized my life was down a path that I didn't want to be on. So I stood up and I changed it. And that was number 2. I made the choice to change my life, and I realized that it is nothing but my life. Number 3, positive human connection. 4, if you can dream it up in your wonderful brains, it's totally possible, even if it's totally absurd. If you can figure out a way to do it, if you have the right headspace, you can achieve anything. Number 5, the only thing that could get in my way on this journey or in life was nothing but myself. And when you strip back all the layers, that is all that gets in your way. It doesn't matter what people tell you or what people show you how to do. You're the only person that has full control of your life. Open up your mind. Look around you. Think about your life. Are you happy with the way it's going, or are you just waiting for it to start? Life is passing us by at every single moment, and it started a very, very long time ago. This is your life, your chance, your opportunity at life. I meet lots of people while I talk, and so many of them say, I wish that I could have done this, or I wish I could do, but it's so often followed by, I just don't think I can. I can't do it. It's so easy to become comfortable in a secure life that you forget that you have your own dreams and you can step outside that box and live them. So ask yourself, who am I and how would I like to experience this wonderful adventure that we call life? Now, normally someone in my position standing up here in front of you is going to tell you how to change your life or what you need to do in order to take the steps to get there. But really, the key to it is it's going to come from you. I can't stand up here and tell you what to do. This is life. There's no real key or guidebook to how to live it. You can live it however you want. I mean, if it all comes down to it, there's being happy and there's being sad. And if you're not happy, you're doing something wrong and you need to change. Now, this bit is quite important, so make sure you're listening. Now, I'm sure you might have got it from the rest of it, but I'm just going to emphasize on the fact that this is your life. This life that you're living belongs to you, and you can learn to control every single aspect of it, whether you're happy, whether you're sad. With the right kind of dedication and attitude, you can do anything. Now, sometimes all you need in your life is a little motivation. Someone to tell you, you can achieve freaking anything. Anything. Now, don't forget you're not alone in this world. Positive human connection is one of the key. Well, it is the secret to happiness in life. If you can influence somebody's life in a positive way or be influenced by somebody in a positive way, the happiness that is gained from that experience cannot be taken away by anyone or anything. So often we don't start our journey because we're afraid that we can't make it right or we can't do it perfect. If you want to change your life, just go out and do it. Don't tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. Don't make it your New Year's resolution. Live in the now. Forget about your past and ask yourself, am I happy? And if you're not, change something. Now, when it all boils down to it, it's not about how much you made or how nice your things are. It's about so much more. What you experienced, who you shared it with, and most importantly, how much fun you had. Now, this is a question to you personally. What are you going to do about your life? Live your dreams and make your own luck.